All right, I'm going to be working on Excel page 108 this time, and we're still in the same sheet, 5-1 sales. If you need to open it back up, I've completed the sales reps tab. So we're going to move to the New York tab, and I'm going to zoom out here so it's a little easier for the camera to pick up. Let's see, we're going to click in G7. And we're going to go to formulas, and we're going to go to statistical and count if. So this is kind of if statements to verify if something's true based on a parameter. So I'm going to come up here to logical. Actually, this one's statistical. So more function statistical. Scroll down, should be alphabetical order. Count if. We want to count if A6 to A25, and then the criteria means what are we looking for, and we're going to look for whatever's in cell F7. So it's going to look up text and then count them. So that's hence the count option. So when we hit OK, it should count 4 times that wildlife care has occurred. Let's see, now we're going to go to H7, and we're going to find out how much money they made. So we're going to do a sum if. So in this one, we'll go math and trig, come down to sum if, and let's see, we're going to so the range, this is the one everybody kind of gets backwards because we've got to do the if first. So we got to verify. So we're going to take these first, sum if, and the criteria will be F7. So if it's wildlife care, then find the sum of all the price, which is B6 to B25. And oops, my bad. I didn't click in the next cell. Now I give my sum range. Then hit OK, and we should see the total come up there. This one goofed people up because it looks like 17, but that is I7. I'm on step 5. So I'm going to click in I7, finding the average price. We want to go to more functions and go to statistical, and we're going to do average if. So again, we have to set the criteria, which is if it is the name, so wildlife care. If it is, then find the average price. Then I would hit OK. One thing we look in here, when I fill these down to copy the formulas, it's going to change the range. And so part of what I didn't do is when I click in these, I need to hit F4. F4 makes this an absolute. So when I do that, I'm in the toolbar here. It makes it so that when we drag the range down, it won't change when we reset this formula. So I'm going to hit enter there, and that's what the F4 does. It had it in the instructions, but I was just coming back to this to get it accurately calculated. So again, I'm hitting F4. You can also type this in. F4 just does it automatically. You do a $sign before the row and the column heading. Now I can highlight these and actually drag them down, and they should match your sample there. And then make sure you save. Make sure on this one as you go along you get both ranges. I goofed that up myself on this one. Got to select that with both ranges for when we fill that formula. And then go ahead and drag it down, and then everything should match. The number one mistake people get is just not getting F4 in that second column to get that all set up. So from there, make sure you save. And that essentially has you completed with page 108. So now let's go ahead. We'll just keep this in the same video. And I'm moving to page 110. So anybody working along with me, I'm on page 110. Moving to US Summary January tab. So I'm selecting that tab. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. In this project, we're going to be adding across sheets. So this can be a little difficult as far as just getting the key sequence right, because some of natural habits as you click out in the right order. So I'm going to start. I'm on this. So this is a summary tab, and it's asking me to go to B7. And so I want to hit auto sum, and then I'm going to go to the other tabs to actually grab the information. So I'm in B7. Let's go to formulas. We can hit auto sum. We're going to click the New York sheet tab with the function still open. I'm going to shift click the LA tab, and if I need to, scroll up to G7, or I can just click in there, and then I can hit the check mark here or hit enter. And this is a key mistake. Since I went to the New York tab, I always want to go back to the summary tab to finish a formula. That actually goofs everything up, so you want to finish the formula before you go back. So now you'll see that it's copied onto the next cell. So I'm going to use the fill handle, B7 to C7, so I'm coming over here and just grabbing this little handle. B7 to C7. Now with B7 and C7 set, I'm going to go ahead and drag these down to B7 to C10, and we should have all that information in. And then in the LA sheet, we're going to edit the LA sheet in cell A6 to say wildlife care. So A6, I'm on the LA tab and do wildlife care, because we're going to see how this recalculates our formula. So I hit the wildlife care, come back to US Summary, and you should have seen the data change now. So go ahead and save the workbook right there. Again, this is sales in the US Summary sheet tab. I've moved on to Excel page 112. Those of you following along, if it helps you out. So this is page 112. I'm still on the 5-1 assignment. So let's see here. We're going to stay in the January US Summary January tabs. We're going to click in B11, and we're going to go ahead and enter a formula here. We're going to do auto sum, and it's going to recognize that set of data. So I'm going to just go ahead and hit enter, and then I'm going to use B11 to fill across here to C11. And next, I'm going to move up to D7. I'm going to go to logical. Up here in my formulas toolbar, you'll notice I'm working quite a bit from this formulas toolbar. And we're going to use the if error. So if there is an error, it won't display something. So I'm going to type, let's see, C7. I'm going to just click on it. And then type the divided by sign. It's right next to shift. And I'm going to select C11 right here. Then I'm going to say if there is an error, it's going to put in the word error. And so I'm going to go ahead and select OK. I'm going to use this fill handle to copy down to D10. And we should see error pop up. The reason is much as in math class, we can never divide by 0. So if I come here, we can see that now, since we filled down and didn't use absolute, it's now dividing C8 by C12. And in C12, it's empty, so it's dividing by 0. So it's just coming back to that same thing where we need to do our F4. So we want, except this time, we want one of the cells to change. So I'm going to come up here to the C11. And I'm going to hit F4 and it'll make C11 absolute. So now when I drag that formula down, it calculates correctly and it divides correctly. And then if we need to, it talks about using show formulas. That's just right here, and we can see how the formula worked over here for that percentage to calculate the error and just turn formula on and off right there. So that's all we're doing on page 112. Just make sure you get a save in. So this video was essentially 8, 10, and 12. I'm going to go ahead and open a different file and a different video for the next one.